I think it's intro time. But first, if I don't take off this jacket, I think I'm about to actually have a heat stroke. So one moment, please. Oh my God, I feel like I can actually breathe again. What the heck? Here, let me fold that like a civilized person. Let's do the thing. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Safari Pedals Show. I'm your host, Abby. If this is your first time here, welcome to the Crazy Wild Safari Pedals Podcast Zoo Thing bandwagon. It's great to have y'all here. I am really stoked to have Justin Jones on the podcast today. He has done playback for a lot of really awesome artists, from Chappell Roan to Lil Nas X, and in general on the podcast, we haven't really dove in. Is it dove in? Dove in, whatever the correct word is, we haven't really jumped in to the topic of live shows, playback, that whole world. So I'm really excited to have him on, dive in and learn more about what he does. And of course, as we like to do on this podcast, get some tips and advice that he has for up and coming producers, engineers, anyone that wants to venture in to the world of live music, playback, slay. So without further ado, guys, please give a very warm welcome to Justin Jones. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Abby. Nothing much. We just got back from a small little tour, so just hanging out at home while I have the time to.
Well, first of all, stoked to have you on. Thank you for hopping on. And I'm also happy I caught you between travels. So before we dive into all the good stuff, let's start with who you are, what you do, and we'll take it from there.
So I'm Justin Jones. I'm a playback technician and also like kind of music director. So basically I work on artists like live shows basically in the aspect of like the backing tracks that play behind them. It depends on the gig because everything's different, but my main job is kind of being in charge of like the Ableton sessions that are playing behind the bands and kind of working with the artists as to how they want the show to go. And then basically going on the road and being kind of in charge throughout the whole show as to how it goes, talking to the artist, doing like MIDI patch changes and stuff like that, and just kind of being in charge of that. And then also working with like the full team as well, on making sure the show is like perfect and going according to plan.
That's awesome. And I'd love to go back a little bit, like what got you into the world of audio in general, and more specifically into kind of the role that you play, like you said, MD, playback technician. How did that all happen?
Honestly, I fell into it. I didn't even know it was a job. I was first like a producer and engineer. And well, first, funny enough, I actually wanted to be a firefighter. That just didn't work at all. Like my senior year, I spent like a whole year trying to do that. And then that like at the end of my senior year, I went to apply for like the Air Force, and they're like, yeah, you can't join, you have asthma. And I was like, damn, okay. My whole career path like just exploded. And I was like, okay, what should I do now? And then I was like, I guess I could try music. Like I had always wanted to, but it was just like kind of expensive. And then with just like funding through school and stuff, I was able to like afford a laptop and then take like all the music classes that I could. And wanting to more so be an artist, funny enough, but kind of just fell into being a producer, being an engineer, just like wearing all the hats, because I feel like that's kind of what you have to do to make it in this industry. So kind of started out doing that and then moved to like, well, I'm from like 45 minutes outside of LA. So I was like, I really want to be like in it. So I moved to LA and then started doing, went to like a couple music schools, and then interned at a couple studios, assisted like Dave Pensado for a little bit, and then kind of just went on my own journey of like, okay, what like artists should I work with? And then like ended up meeting my first like big artist kind of thing. And we then like, I became his like producer engineer, started doing that. And then he asked me to go on tour with him and be his front of house. And I was like, sure, like it's mixing, but on like just live, like how much different could it be? And that definitely like was a big learning lesson. um, I basically went on the tour, did front of house, and also was doing monitors and playback, not knowing those were like separate jobs. Did that whole tour and then came back home, and like COVID then hit, and the like production and like engineering work started to slow down. So then by the end of it, I was like, oh, I kind of liked the aspect of like the Ableton part that I was doing on that last tour. Found out it was a job through a friend, and then he connected me with like this agency called Spacebar Society, who like gave me my start basically in doing playback. Um, and then just kind of fell into it through that, and just haven't stopped doing it for like 3 years now. And it's been a fun journey. It's been a lot of learning lessons, and also just never thought I'd be in the place that I am. Very grateful and blessed to be doing what I do.
Dude, that's so cool. Like your whole journey and how it
Thank you.
transpired. And also, I want to go back to like that initial opportunity and tour you went on, doing it for the first time. Like, what was that learning curve like? Just like being thrown into that whole other like world of live slay, as they say.
It was definitely, it was one of those moments where it's like fake it till you make it. Just like we were doing like pretty smaller, like I want to say it was like 200 to like 500 crowd shows. So the boards that I was showing up to were like kind of the same mixing boards, but also I was like had never been familiar with that. So like leading up to it, I was in rehearsals with like the same kind of board at this studio that we were rehearsing at, and just kind of trying to learn it the best that I could, and then showing up to the venue and just kind of working with the tech there as to like, oh, like what do you think's best for the, because like each room was different, so like me trying to figure out what would be better in that instance, but kind of having an idea of how I wanted it to go. But every day being different kind of thing, a different approach. And also it's like you'd get your like house texts that were like not helpful at all,
Yeah.
or the ones that were super helpful. And it's like, oh, I actually learned something today that like I can now apply to the next show. And just trying to or like if it wasn't helpful, just being like, okay, what do I have to like do to figure this out, and just trying to figure it out on my own, or making a call to a friend. But it was definitely hard. It wasn't easy because I also wasn't like super, I mean, yeah, I loved, like I had a fun time doing it, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm having a great time like mixing the band and stuff like that. I was definitely noticing like I was having more fun with different aspects, and like leading up to it, helping create the show and like doing all the Ableton tracks and stuff like that. I had a good time doing that. So yeah, just like kind of taking that away from it, but definitely the front of house and monitors part, I was like, yeah, I don't enjoy this.
And also, you said you were doing like two jobs in one. Like, I can't imagine like
Three.
three jobs in one.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Because like front of house and front of house and mons are completely like separate jobs, because like front of house you're more worried on the mix for the crowd, where like monitors you're trying to make sure the mix for your band is good. And at that time everyone was on in-ears too, so it wasn't just like wedges and stuff laid around. It was like making sure everyone's like in-ear mix was like good, and like they were getting enough click and enough like backing tracks, or like enough drums so they can like be in time with everything. So there was definitely like, it's just like two separate jobs that like definitely need, in my eyes, I feel like need to be separate jobs. Like they shouldn't be one job, except like understandable in some cases where it might like be okay to apply that. But when you have like a 5-piece band, it's definitely best to have it separate, because you have just so many people, and like just you want to make everyone happy too as well, to make sure that they feel like they're getting the attention that they deserve, and then they feel comfortable to play their parts and everything like that, and then put on like a good show. Because like if you have like a bad in-ear mix and you're not feeling good, like sometimes you don't play as well and like present that for the show. So I feel like it's important to have like someone dedicated to that.
Yeah. And it sounds so crazy. Just like thinking about all of like the things that go into it. It sounds like there's like, so it's like a house of cards, like so many little moving pieces, and everyone's got to be kind of like like on
Yeah.
on for
Yeah,
sure.
no, it's interesting because like the best teams that I work on, it's very like intricate like that, but also like everything kind of ties in with each other with like playback helping mons in front of house sometimes, depending on like what it may be. But at the end of the day, it's like a very like teamwork job in my eyes. I feel like the best ones that I've been on, it's like the whole team is kind of working together to put this show on and getting it going and making sure it goes well.
Like, how does it work in terms of like creative say when you said you're building the show out in Ableton? Do you usually influence like the creative vision of the artist, or is it more like these are kind of what we're going to do? Can you make it happen? Like, how does that dynamic work?
It definitely depends on each artist and what I've been hired for. Most of the time I'm being hired for playback, but then like it can turn into me doing some music direction, but most of the time um I'm working with another music director that's like the like head MD, and usually they're kind of asking me for creative ideas in terms of like, oh, what do you think? It's not like me fully being like, this is what we're doing. I've had a few clients that I do that with. Like a buddy of mine, he has his own project, so I'm kind of the music director on that. Basically, it's just like, okay, here's your songs. How can we put these in order that's gonna like make sense energy wise and also keep like the crowd entertained, and then also like how can we mix, because I also really like creating like a show that, not always, but I do enjoy doing shows that kind of like don't stop. Like maybe there's some breaks for like small talking points, but kind of putting like transitions over those talking points. So it like everything's kind of, it's like kind of a story's being told. Usually I'm working like hand in hand with the artist where it's like, okay, we should like take this song and have it mix into this one. And how should we go about it? Like, do we want to do like more a transition, or do you want to create like a moment with the crowd that leads into the next song? But it's very case by case. With my one buddy that I work with, we kind of collaborate on it together. And then either he'll do like something in Ableton or I'll do something in Ableton. It just depends. And then for others, it can be like sometimes it's even on the road though too, like where it's like we have the show built, but then like something's just not, it could be better. Like we're like, oh, it would be kind of better if this just like kind of led into this song. So then I sometimes can take control on that and just make the idea that I think, and if they like it, we'll usually stick with it. But sometimes it's not like that. I don't know. It just everything's case by case.
This podcast in general is centered around starting out, being new, being up and coming as a producer engineer. Do you have any pieces of advice for any audio people who are interested or kind of want to go into more of the live scene?
I'd say like stay hungry and just like meet people. That's like kind of how I got my start, was just like wanting to do more, and also meeting others that I felt were in the right areas that I wanted to be in. And just, I don't know, if you put yourself out there, like things will come to you. That's how I look at it. Like, and whenever things kind of slow down, I just kind of put myself out there again when, like, because sometimes it gets so busy with work where I can't unfortunately see those people that have like led me to where I am. And like, there's so many people that I can name that I'm very thankful and grateful for that have like put me in the rooms that I've been in.
To sum up everything we spoke about, I always love to ask our guests to either drop, it could be a piece of advice or just anything general you want to drop to the Safari Pedals world. So do you have anything else to drop to the people? As they say, no pressure.
I don't know, just keep going. Don't stop. Whatever you set your mind to, you can do. Also, if people are ever curious or have any questions as to what I do or how to get into it more, so feel free to reach out. I'm like very open and willing to help.
Guys, I'm going to drop Justin's social media links, all things, website, whatever needs to be in the description, we'll be there. So like you said, reach out and feel free. And dude, thank you so much for hopping on the bandwagon and sharing your insights.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, happy to be a part of it.